It's time for Cats Talk Wednesday. Small town and big city joined forces. Vinny Hardy of Lynch, Kentucky, and Terry Brown of Louisville, Kentucky, team up to give you free-flowing, laid-back sports talk. Focus on Kentucky Wildcats, as well as pertinent information in the NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball.
Here we are live. Terry Brown and Vinny Hardy, Cats Talk Wednesday, courtesy of the BS3 Network. Another fun Wednesday here, TB. Thought we was going to come in talking about the Cats and our guests, and we got some big-time breaking news that we're going to work in as well, man. How you doing up there in Des Moines, adjacent Iowa?
7 inches of snow. I know you probably saw the pictures. Not great. Not great snow with wind. Not a good combination. The dog has not been a fan, so I've had to clear a path for him to take care of his thing as he rests beside me right now. But other than the snow, we doing all right.
That's good. That's good. Now, we had Adam Jacoby on, and he's a native and still doesn't like the weather in December. Is your wife used to it, or does she, hate it as well when winter rolls around?
I don't think you ever get used to it. I just think you learn how to deal with it, right? Like you just, like if you're in Seattle, you got to have some rain shoes and an umbrella, right?
True.
That's just how it goes. I went to one of my roommates at UK was from Buffalo, New York, and that's a whole different level of snow. And it's one of those things you just have to get used to it because you have to.
And you mentioned in Seattle, we thought Pete Carroll leaving Seattle might be the biggest coaching departure of the day.
Man.
Nick Saban said, hold his beer.
Well, shout out to Bomani Jones that called it after Alabama lost to Michigan. I know we got to talk about Michigan, but he said he thought Saban was gonna hang it up because at some point you got to walk away.
Mm-hmm.
And like Saban and Pete Carroll, I mean, you get into your 70s, what are you doing? at some point, don't you want to enjoy some of your life?
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about the changing landscape, particularly of college athletics, with the transfer portal, with the NIL. I can't imagine doing that at Kentucky and our expectations, but doing that at Alabama, that feels like a nightmare.
And he navigated it for a few years. Jay Wright and those guys was like, hey, we gone. Nick stayed in there for a little bit longer. And
yeah,
you said 72 years old, 6 championships at Bama, 1 at LSU. I mean, look, your resume is in a stratosphere all of its own. So, hey.
And look, every job I've ever worked, probably you've ever worked, you've had that moment like, what am I doing this for? And you work your life to get into a point where it's like, I don't want to do this anymore. Even if it's something that you want to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've talked about, my father was a police officer for 30 years. And he woke up one day and said, I don't want to do this anymore. And he retired. And that was that. He's like, I don't want to do this. Even if it's your life calling and you love to do it and you're paid well, at some point, I don't want to do this, particularly as you get a little bit older.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 72, I know he's not traveling around commercial.
Right.
And whatnot, but still.
Mm-hmm.
He got kids and grandkids. Go be a family man at this point, Nick.
Yeah.
Tip your hat. I don't know if you saw the picture. They're rolling the trees down in Auburn, which you say you're not little brother, but
hey, they can't hide the joy. They can't hide it.
Yeah, but I mean, there's not a whole lot else you can say about what he did at Alabama.
So 109 weeks at number 1. Is that? Did I see that right?
Yeah, 44 first-round picks, 29 losses while he's at Alabama. I mean, I couldn't do that on my video game, and I tried. I tell you, tried to. Like, I mean, that's tough to do. So, great career. Real quick too, Pete Carroll, got to give him his due.
Yeah,
he joined that Barry Switzer club, get you a championship in college, and get you a championship in the NFL.
Jimmy Johnson. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson and a lot of look at that cowboy flavor we bringing in.
3. That's right. Yeah. Jimmy Johnson Ring of Honor, finally. So congratulations on that.
Yeah. So, but tip your hat to Pete Carroll because USC was a machine.
And we've in our lifetime we've seen close to 3 peats happen. I was hoping they would do it.
Yeah.
And part of me hoped Georgia would do it just so I could say I'd seen it. I even wanted the Patriots to go 19-0 because I didn't. We went around for the Dolphins. I wanted to see it. As much as I hate the Patriots, I was pulling for them that year. So, but Pete Carroll, I didn't think Vince Young would knock them out. Didn't think Alabama would beat this Georgia team. But hey,
yeah, that's why you play the game. But
right.
And then to get to the Legion of Boom, I mean, you do have to put in there. You got to give Marshawn Lynch the ball. You got to put that in there, Super Bowl, whatever that was. But two great ones, calling it a career.
Exactly.
And so what that means, particularly at the collegiate level, we about to see some coaching musical chairs.
Oh, no doubt.
Because anytime there's an opening, particularly that opening, there's going to be some shuffling. But remember, and I forget who Bomani Jones was talking to about this, prior to Saban getting there, they couldn't give the job away. It was not that. It was Alabama has been Alabama, but at that point, they had been on probation for a little bit. They had Shula and Francione and Mike Price for about 2 weeks. And
it was embarrassing, man.
It was, is Alabama going to ever be Alabama again? And here we are. This Alabama is probably better than the other version of Alabama. That's the crazy thing. But as you and I were talking about before we got on, who wants to be the guy to follow Saban?
Yeah.
That is that's the unenviable job, is to be the guy to replace the guy. And just off the top of our head, obviously Joe B. Hall is at the top of my list. And I'm not talking about replacing good coaches, right? I'm talking about replacing literal legends, like name on the building, name on the field, 6 championships. That's big. That's big. And we talked about this when Joe B. Hall passed, was if you say Rupp kind of started this thing, without Joe B., this goes a different way at Kentucky for Kentucky basketball.
Yep.
One, can the program be bigger than one person? 2, let's bring the Negroes on, right? Yep. Two things that are pretty big, because a lot of teams that were competing with Kentucky in the 50s and 60s didn't do that, and that's why their banners are older than ours, right? We talk about that with Alabama. Part of keeping this thing going is you had to bring on some Negroes. So I put Joe B. Hall at the top of the list. But you look at who else is, Gene Bartow being the guy to replace John Wooden. Mike Davis. It didn't end well at Indiana for Bobby Knight, and I don't think he got a great start. But that's big shoes. Frank Solich coming into Nebraska, got the championship game, met that Miami team where the third running back was Willis McGahee. Frank Gore, Willis McGahee, I forget the other. Oh, was it Portis? I think
Yeah.
Portis was on that. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's your 3 deep running back.
Mhm.
Your 2 deep at tight end is Shockey and
Winslow.
Winslow Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Won't speak about his other stuff, but he was a heck of a college. Like that team.
Ed Reed and Vilma and
Yes.
Roll and
I want to say your boy Sean, what's his name, played in Washington.
Sean Taylor.
I think he was on that team.
He might have been, yeah.
But that team was ridiculous. That team was Vince Wilfork. Like, I mean,
yeah,
not just dudes that made the league. I'm talking about Pro Bowl, all pro dudes.
Santana Moss or his brother, one of them on there.
Yes. Yeah, when people start, look, I get it. LSU's offense in 2019 was great, but I'm telling y'all, college football has been around longer than 5 years. And that Miami Hurricane, they could have probably that might have been the one college team that would have been able to make noise in the NFL because they had NFL dudes. Maybe. But anyway, it's always fun to look back at those rosters. Like I tell you, look, Cam Newton, you ever go look at that Auburn roster he had?
Nick Fairley, and that was it.
Ain't nobody else on the offensive side of the ball sniffed the NFL. Not one. And that dude walked into Alabama and came from behind and won because he said, I will do this.
He was getting smoked by Bama.
Look, man, I get it. Joe Burrow had a great year. He was also throwing to Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. Okay, let's be clear about that. But Cam Newton showed up and won the SEC. I don't want to say by himself, but I'm going to say probably the only SEC team to only have one NFL dude on the offensive side of the ball. Not a lineman, not a long snapper, nothing. Not a kicker, nothing. Yeah. But anywho, talking about coaches to replace legends, like that stuff's tough, man.
Yeah.
Because at Alabama, you don't get a learning period. You don't get a learning curve.
Got hit the ground running.
It's going to be week 2 of next year. I'm going to even go to some of those Alabama message boards because I want to see it because those people are crazy. It's a different world, man. It is a different world. So I don't know who they bring in. North Carolina basketball, Duke men's basketball, they, kept it in the family, I think, to help out with that a little bit. But like I told you before, I don't really even think about Duke. To be honest with you.
It didn't take long either. I mean,
I'm sure they're ranked wherever they are, but Duke ain't Duke.
Yeah. It's and I mean did they make Elite 8 his last year? They were
Coach K?
They were better than Indiana when Shire took over,
Oh, Coach,
Shire stepped into a better situation than Mike Davis did.
Well, remember, that's North Carolina put Duke out of the Final Four that year.
Final Four. I was thinking Elite 8. Yeah, Final Four. Exactly. Yeah. That's right. That's right. Got 2 great guests coming up too, as well. 2 friends of the show. First guest, be her second time on with us, Sierra Newton from BBN Tonight. We had several BBN Tonighters on, and Sierra kicked it with us. It's been a little while, but we get her back on and see about everything she's doing and covering and juggling, and because it's all the sports happening, and they cover all of them. So we get Sierra and longtime friend of the show, Craig Bates, who keeps us up to speed on all things NHL. Played hockey at Tennessee. We kind of forgive him for that. He comes on and gives us, all the NHL stuff, everything that's going on, playoffs, All-Star, all that stuff. So Craig is going to hop on and get us caught up on all things NHL. Looking forward to having both all those guests on. You can catch us live right here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter.
We all over the place.
Cats Talk Wednesday.
Shout out to KY Clips for sharing the show.
I appreciate that, man. He retweets and puts it on Facebook. Appreciate that.
That's good stuff.
Roku too. BS3.
Yeah. We doing it.
BS3 Live TV. I always say it wrong. Hang on, bear with me 1 second. I'm not gonna get all twisted up. BS3TVLive.com, and then you add your Roku channel, and about 10 of our shows are right there in rotation. You can just go back and watch them, and there.
Mama B got a Roku.
What?
Mama B got a Roku. And
See?
shout out to my cousin Ray for showing her how to get our show.
Okay. Appreciate you, Ray and Mama B. So Mama B can add the BS3 network and watch us if she wants to.
She only watches when we have guests.
Okay.
Because, and I quote, I've been listening to you talk for almost 50 years. Keep in mind, I am not 50 years old. Let me be very clear about that. But you can't argue with Mama.
When you do, if you want to do the math, 92% of the way to 50.
I don't want to do no math.
If we math it, it's just the reality. The reality. Math or no math.
You enjoy that 4 months, don't you? When I'm technically older.
Yeah.
Speaking of Tennessee, the men's basketball team is pretty good. And I don't know if you saw this. Are drugs legal there in the state of Tennessee? Like, can you take drugs just willy-nilly? Because I saw a Tennessee Vol fan, something, that asked a question, at what point does Tennessee men's basketball get blue blood status?
Oh, my God.
And I ask about the drugs because that's a statement only a drug person, a person under the influence would make. First off, you got to win more than a singular conference championship. That's bare minimum. Second off, you have to participate in at least one men's Final Four. We toss around this blue blood stuff, and it's absolutely ridiculous. And come on, man.
I have not seen that. That is
and I think these people are trolling. Some Missouri person was trolling after the Missouri game last night, talking about how is it Dennis Cook? Is that Missouri's coach?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Owned Kentucky after one victory. And again, real quick, this is what happens, right? I've explained this before. You go to bigbluehistory.net, you start searching by SEC teams. Generally, this is what happens when you look, Vinny. It's approximately 85 wins for Kentucky, 20 wins for the other team, and there's a stretch where they go 2-2 versus Kentucky, and they've got Kentucky's number.
Yep.
That's generally what happens.
That's it.
And so I'm tired of entertaining these teams that go through this 2-2 stretch, maybe 2-3, and think that they're the class of the SEC. All these programs have played on Wednesday and Thursday in the SEC tournament in the last few seasons. All of them.
Mm-hmm.
Has Kentucky? No, not ever.
And they will milk it like nobody's business. That little stretch. They'll hang on to it. You gotta pry it from their cold dead hands when they break even against them.
Yeah. It's shirts. It's this. I'm sure Texas A&M will have something.
Yeah.
This weekend. But
Florida,
speaking of Kentucky basketball,
Florida oranged out. Trey Mitchell said there was a lot of orange in there or whatever. That's
I love Trey Mitchell, man. This team is a fun team, man, and I'm gonna keep talking about it because I think it bears repeating. We've got dudes that are ready for the moment. We've got dudes that are ready for the spotlight. That we are going to figure this out. And they have. you know, I'm glad because I've seen more and more people get on my bus of enjoy this. This is fun, man.
Mm-hmm.
You get to see Dillingham go berserk. Like, what? You get to see little Shep do his thing. The ultimate glue man. You know, Dickie V's got his glue guy. Like, whatever Kentucky's needing, Reed can shift to that gear. I need to hit a couple of buckets. I need to play some defense. I mean, this is just a great, great team, and they're coming together.
And scoring 90 when some guys aren't even really hitting.
They didn't look great to get to 90 last night.
Yeah.
That's the scary thing is look, the defense, it's got to be percentages better. I get that. I think we're going to get to that point, right? But if you can get to 90 points and it's not like, you know, Dillingham put up his numbers, Reeves has been consistent, but it's not like it was a fantastic, like, right. I mean, I had to keep checking the score. Like, you know, we're to the 70s. We still got time left.
And the same thing in Florida. I was that stretch when it was, 58-51 Florida. I wouldn't have thought they would have got 87 in regulation. And, the same kind of thing. Bradshaw with the great second half with the block, hit the three, the inbounds play with the jumper. I mean, I
love this team. They're all doing the little bitty things. I think the defense will come. But part of it, I think, is the offense will put pressure on teams to try to keep up.
And Texas A&M, you talk about a rock fight at Auburn. I don't even know who won, but it was barely in the 50s.
Auburn won.
With 4 or 5 minutes left, it was 52-50 or something. I was like, man, how did where are they going to get the firepower? Sure, they might be great defensively, but they don't have the firepower.
Man, when Missouri was pressing, it's like, why are you pressing this team? You've got 4 dudes that can handle the rock with Bradshaw on the back end. Like, what are you doing? Like, this is. I understand you want to play your style and all this kind of stuff. And look, Missouri, to their credit, they gunked it up a little bit with some junk stuff. That's fine. Slowed it down for a little bit. But even with that stretch of confusion, this team gets into your legs.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw that against Missouri. They only had like 1 basket last 10 minutes.
Yeah. And
people say, oh, they were missing shots. Well, yeah, obviously. But trying to go up and down with Kentucky will do that.
And I like, we combine in both games. But Florida game, they showed Ty Golden in the huddle. They're already tired. They're getting fatigued. And I'm like, if that's what you want to tell them, that's fine. And then
Reed and Dilly ain't even coming to the game, man. What are you talking about?
And then it showed Cal saying, they playing as good as they can play. They banking in threes and, all this kind of stuff.
Well,
they doing all they can do.
The thing is, too, my superstition is going. I got to clean. Last night, we was up 5 at halftime. We stretch it out to 14. You know what's going on? I'm cleaning my kitchen. After I'd already cleaned it on Saturday. My kitchen wasn't even that dirty. But I'm out here trying to do stuff. I'm cleaning, man. I'm cleaning.
We got our guest backstage TV. She, as we mentioned, BBN tonight, Lex 18 News, proud Northern Kentucky University graduate. Let's see, she's also part of the Inquirer Sports and Northerner Media news organization for NKU. So she's the most famous NKU North alum that we know because she bumped Mark Berger out of the list. So, we can't even put him anymore. We're talking about friend of the show, Sierra Newton. Sierra, how you doing? Welcome back.
Hello. I'm doing well. How are you guys?
So good to have you back.
You are
I'm excited to be back.
You are the most famous Norris, right? This Mark, you bumping Mark Berger way on down, right?
I don't know about that. Not yet. I wouldn't put that out there yet, but I appreciate you saying that.
She's gonna keep it modest, staying modest and humble, and just. But she did put that yet. A couple more years, she will.
Yeah,
Put
give
that
me a
work. You
couple
gotta
more
have
years,
goals.
and then I'll take the
take the crown here a little bit. I got you. So how have you been? How busy are you? Football's over now, but you still got plenty of stuff to cover. So how's it been going for you? Was this your second sports season at BBN
second
tonight?
sports season at BBN tonight, and actually, in December I got promoted, so now I'm like on camera MMJ type thing. So I also do stuff for our like newscast, LAX 18 News. So even busier than before. I thought I was busy already being a producer. Now that I'm like also full-time shooting in front of the camera and that kind of thing, it's ramped up. But yeah, just very excited to get out there, get to more games, do a couple live shots in the field. That was super fun. Even though Jacksonville was not the outcome we wanted, it was still a lot of fun being able to experience a bowl game. I've never been to a bowl, period. So covering that was super fun. And now we're just full basketball swing. So super excited about that.
Yeah, awesome. Congratulations on the promotion too. And what's the MMJ stand for? Like Mega Michael Jordan? What is it?
Basically, I am Michael Jordan. Multimedia journalist is the official title.
There you go.
I like the Mega Michael Jordan. I'm just going to change all of my things to say that instead.
You can put that on the business card right there.
That's right. Yeah. We won't be mad about that at all. So you were at Rep last night, or were you in the studio?
I was not at Rep Arena. I was at home watching on the couch.
Hey.
Maggie and Kinsey, they were covering for us in Rep Arena, but still a good game. I enjoyed it. Obviously, big talker is Rob. He's always doing great, always doing crazy, great things. So excited to see how he'll progress throughout the season. And honestly, all the freshmen, they're super exciting. It's so nice to see this group also just how they interact with each other outside of the court as well. I feel like that's super telling to how they're playing right now on the court too. So I'm enjoying it so far, but I'm really excited to see how this goes all in the end. I don't want to claim anything, but I feel like it looks like a pretty good season.
Yeah. A lot of excitement, a lot of reasons to be optimistic. And they're, as your freshman year progresses, you just get more comfortable, and they maybe should be struggling right now, and they're already probably ahead of schedule. They're already comfortable. 2 SEC games is all they played, and they're going to continue to grow and gel and become more cohesive. So it's a bright future, from what we can see it. I don't know who I saw. I don't know if it was Kyle Tucker. Somebody said that Dillingham was like a hummingbird with a jumper, and I thought that was kind of pretty accurate because he's so quick, he's everywhere, but I thought that was a pretty accurate description of the young fella.
That's a good one. I miss that tweet. I miss having TweetDeck. I feel like because I don't have that, I don't get to see all the tweets as the games are going. Like I try to stay up with it on my timeline, but having the multiple panels of tweets definitely helps, so you don't miss those good ones like that one.
Well, you don't miss my really, really bad puns during the game.
No, I love them. They're my favorite. Honestly, favorite Twitter follow. Sorry, Vinny, had to say that.
Not that, look, I knew I wouldn't make anybody's favorite Twitter follower list, but he gets enough publicity. He goes viral and all that stuff. He don't need no more, making his head swell. So you ain't got to tell him.
Oh, yeah. Also, talking about tweets, Keith Farmer told me to give you a little, trouble for tweeting about not shoveling your snow. Terry, was that? You weren't outside doing the work outside?
Hey, we got 7 inches. I was out there, man. It's different out here. This is a different kind of snow than I'm used to. I'm used to Kentucky snow. This is different.
Right. You can ignore that for a bit and it'll go away. That didn't look like it was going anywhere.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But yeah, it's different snow here.
You ignore it out there and be snowed in for real, right? Piled up and up.
Up in Midwest, no joke now.
Mm.
But tell Keith, I am not running in the snow. I have seen people try to run in the snow and the cold. I do not do that. That is insanity, and I don't participate in such things.
So you just
I'm glad you have that same.
It's just the off season of running right now. You got the treadmill in the house, or what?
I got the treadmill. Let me see if I can.
All right.
I got my treadmill, but it is the off season, even though I can't.
I gotta ask, Sarah. I'm gonna assume right here, and we know what happens when we assume. So there's a risk that and if I'm wrong, if I'm incorrect, just say you are totally off base. But we saw your Derby fit last year. We saw you slaying at the Derby. We saw the hats. We saw how you was doing your thing out there, killing it. Have you already? Because it's we talking basketball now, and everybody's looking at this team, and March Madness is probably the biggest thing on our mind. But right around the corner is first Saturday in May. So have you already thought about the fit for this year? You trying to top last year? You just trying to maintain? What's your strategy for this year's Derby?
Oh, yes, for sure. Starting at Christmas, I was like, I know that you all got me all these great things for Christmas, but need to put the word out there that I will be going out to the Derby. So if we could all collectively, speaking to my mom and my grandma, if we could just work together and come up with an even better Derby fit this year, that would be great. So putting out the feelers, I'm gonna go into the archive, see if my grandma has any hats that she had from the past that she'd be willing to lend me for the Derby this year. So pulling out all the stops. I'm very excited, and I'm hoping that I'll have an on-camera role this time. Not super sure about it, but if you put it out there, it usually happens. So
you heard that, didn't you, Keith?
Very excited.
You heard that.
Don't know if I'm gonna come for Keith's spot. He does a lot.
No. I'm just saying you heard on camera assignment this year, Keith. That's all we're saying. We're not coming for you because we know you the Don, but just put Sierra on camera this year. That's all we're saying, Keith.
There should be plenty to do. This is 150.
Yes, exactly.
And there's already kind of stuff I've seen that they've got special this, and so there's gonna be plenty enough to cover.
Oh yeah, the news side of the newsroom has definitely the buzz has already started. So I know they're already putting things together. So I'm sure it'll be here soon that they'll start bringing us in on that, because most of the sports side, it's a little different. So, but very excited.
Yeah,
we'll be making an appearance there.
You will. I'll have to come find you.
I'm bringing the missus. She's never been, and it's been a while since I've been, so we're looking forward to that. That's the best time to be in Kentucky, though. It's the best time, man. Everybody in a good mood. You get to April, everybody's in a good mood. I love it, man. Louisville's all clean. I'm like, it ain't never this clean. People nice.
Taking shots.
At his own city, though.
Yeah.
Hey, I think it's accurate, though. But
it's nice because that club that didn't have a cover last week, now it's $25, $30 to get in. So everybody's making money, man.
Right, exactly.
So Grandma gonna help you outdo what you did last year. I think that's she got Grandma's hat game. I already know it's already.
Yeah, she actually this blazer was a Christmas gift from her. She picked it out herself. She knows how to dress. I know how to dress because my grandma and my mom know how to dress. So I have to shout them out anytime I can.
Absolutely. Man, TB jump in. I done talk Derby and
I've been jumping in. I'm tired of you saying jump in. I've been doing all this talking already.
Man,
see what this is? See?
Just make sure I ain't talking too much and be.
See, I knew what MMJ stood for.
Hey, I'm just saying. I didn't. I'm just asking.
No, I'm glad you asked, because I just say things and I just, like you said earlier, I assume that everyone just knows what I'm talking about. And so if you don't ask, you don't know. But I do the same thing. I'm always willing to be like, okay, so I'll go ahead and say it. What are you talking about? What's
Right.
going on?
Right. I was like, send the bios on the profile. Let's just see what he's talking about. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we got women's basketball still playing at Rupp. We got gymnastics starting up.
And at Transy, and at Georgetown, and at
all over the place, everywhere.
Barnstorming.
Yeah.
Whose gym have we not been to yet? We'll make a stop.
And they got a nice win against Arkansas to start SEC play. Jumped on Tennessee up 17, and then couldn't hang on to that. And people just tune in and see the final score. They think it got beat down for 4 quarters, but that wasn't the case.
But no, it was a game, and I was probably shouldn't say this, but I was driving to the Lexington Media. We had a basketball game on Sunday at the same time that they played. So like on the way there, I had the game up on my little console, and I was driving and like listening to the game as well. And I was like, okay, we got this. It's good. Because once I got to the gym, it was halftime. So I was like, all right, once this game's over, I'll leave and we'll have won. And I checked the score and I'm like, oh.
Slipped away. Yeah.
Gotta work on closing out. But I mean, I feel like they have a decent amount of pieces to make it go. It's just, I feel like when it comes to closing out games, that's when the trouble arises for some reason. Don't quite know what specifically it is, but closing out seems to be the issue.
And they took some rough non-conference losses before they got an SEC play.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and we saw where they were projected. All the experts had them picked, in preseason. And so to beat Arkansas like they did to start off was good. And then, like you said, even though you didn't close, to be able to get up that big on Tennessee has to, I mean, it didn't end well, but you show that you're capable of doing that. Now we got to, exactly. You can go to, like Kentucky first when they played Kansas. They were up 14 on Kansas. They lost, but you didn't have any 7-footers and you're up double digits on Kansas. So you go to Knoxville and you're up 17. It didn't just happen by itself. They went out and did that so they can go through and still, like TV said, those are things that you can still build on and look, going forward.
Right. And then they always have an end of a season push. As we've seen the past few seasons, they get to SEC tournament time, they turn it up. So if they can start that a little earlier, I feel like once it comes to the actual SEC tournament, they'll be good.
Yeah, I'm with you. Are you getting a chance to peek at the NFL playoffs that start this weekend, in and around all the work you're doing? Do you have an NFL team, and do you?
I try my best. I am a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I'm ready for whatever is about to come after that. I understand people.
Yeah, well, as a Cowboys fan, I don't like the Steelers, but hey. I'm proud. Look, here's my thing. I like Mike Tomlin. I hate he coaches the Steelers. That's where I am with that.
I hear that a lot.
But cool that he found a way to have a winning season again. He still refuses to have.
He always figures it out.
So that's about as good as a compliment as you'll get for the Steelers from me.
And I will take it.
Isn't Keith a Steelers fan too?
He is.
Okay.
Me, Keith, and then Nick Lazaroff. He's our BBN Tonight editor / photog extraordinaire. He does it all. But the three of us, we're a little gang in sports of Steelers fans. So
you got
it's
Buffalo.
Not being the only one.
At Buffalo, right?
Yeah, I believe so. 1 p.m. on Sunday, I will be on the couch.
There you go.
What's going on? What's going on this weekend?
Wow, here we go. Here comes. Oh. Here comes the shade. Here comes the petty shade right here.
What petty? No. Is there something going on this weekend?
Wow. Yeah, I know where he's going. I'm just going to see where. I'm just going.
No, I'm just asking, Vinny. Is there something going on?
What am I walking into?
The Niners have
there's
a bye.
NFL games this weekend.
Yeah, the 49ers
I'm
have a
sorry.
bye, and this fool right here is just how he.
Oh
This
my
is his-
gosh! All right.
I didn't know they had the playoffs this weekend. I'm sorry. Because I got those alerts on ESPN, and it was like,
Gotcha.
man, your 49ers ain't got a game. I'm like, for real? NFL, I thought it was weird they took a break. That's on me, Vinny.
See,
It's a sports show. I should know these things. I apologize.
Mhm.
Miss Sierra, I apologize. I'm sorry. I wasn't up on things.
you see, Sierra, just because he's your favorite, your favorite Twitter follower, see, he get this nonsense too. See?
Right, I egged it on. I
Just
added to it. Yeah.
Woo!
come with this foolishness that me and you have to deal with. See, just because we got to play this weekend, but here
But I love Sierra because she loves some of those puns are bad. Some of them are a little bit of a stretch.
I support
But
all of it.
I try.
Because I have some that are in the drafts, and I just I talk myself out of them, and so I just appreciate that you put it all out there.
Well, I had a lot of people take this one serious during the bowl game. I think it was during the bowl game. Might have been the Louisville game when I was like, Berrien might be the fastest Brown, to attend the University of Kentucky. People are like, well, what did you do? Man, it's a joke, man. What did you
We can't laugh. We can't giggle.
like, how fast were you? Not very, which is why I didn't play it.
That's why I made the joke.
Come on now. Anyway.
So, Sarah, you got you the best Newton since Morgan Newton. You got something that you gonna work on for next football season we're gonna do that because Morgan Newton played quarterback, and maybe you can do something. Maybe you can work something out.
All good. I like the literary deep cuts. That's my mother, the English teacher, would appreciate some of those deep cuts I try to get. But anywho, hold on. Football games this weekend. Ain't that something?
Oh my goodness.
Here we go. See, here we go.
Football.
The theatrics.
So extra. So extra. You need to talk him out of his. You talk yourself out of yours. Go tap him on the shoulder and be like,
hey, some of them are pretty bad. I will get that. Some of them are pretty bad. But
you. Yeah.
I shouted out Nelly last night.
I saw that one.
That was a deep cut for Rob going crazy since it was Missouri. See, I'm well versed in all kinds of stuff.
Right. Yeah, you got to make those connections. Those are my favorite things to do, especially in the show in lower thirds, like the little banners at the bottom of our show. Sometimes I try to put little puns and things in there. I don't think everyone connects to them, but I laugh and they made it on the show. So then I'm like, this is good. I love it. This is great.
And sometimes all you gotta do is just make yourself laugh. That's the only reason I get on Twitter and be messing around. I think that's funny.
That's right. That's all that matters. Now, for the ones that don't make it, Sierra, do you after you get done say, "Hey, why didn't this make it?" Or "How come y'all cut that out?" Or
no, because sometimes I understand why, so I'm not offended or anything. And then sometimes it's this is still a show that we broadcast to other people, so sometimes you can't always make the joke. Sometimes it's okay, just stick to the stats here. But I usually can tell when I'm okay, this will be a funny one, and they'll keep this one. And then sometimes I put them in there just for us, and I know they're going to get changed, but I still do it anyway.
Good looking out. How's the homie Jesse Riffy doing?
Jesse is doing great. He has a 1-year-old now named Charlotte. That's basically all we ever talk to Jesse about is her. So actually Jesse might not be doing well because all we talk about is the 1-year-old girl, so might have to reach out to him, ask him how he is, because she's the star of the show now. But no, honestly, he's good.
You have a baby, and that's it. That's a wrap.
That's all everyone cares about is the baby. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is first child.
Yes.
So, then he's really a wrap, man.
Is he a brand new girl dad? So TB, you know all about that, man.
Heck yeah, I love my girls, man.
Mm-hmm.
I got an 18-year-old now.
How does that feel? Oh my gosh, my little sister is 18. and that makes me so emotional all the time.
Yeah.
So how does that feel for you as a dad? I'm sure that's like,
Considered I'm 29. That's weird. How to have an 18.
that is weird. How did that happen? It's crazy.
Woo, buddy. No, it's. I say this when it comes to parenting, is as soon as you kind of figure out what's going on, they at the next step. You know, you're like, man, I know how to change diapers. I got this whole thing down. Well, now it's potty training, right? It's always a challenge, but it's good stuff. I got two good girls. They're doing real good.
Awesome.
18 and 15, Vinny.
No.
Well, almost 15. Almost 15.
Yeah, because Micah, my oldest and your youngest are the same age. I got 15 and 11. So
those are fun ages.
We're looking at colleges. We locking that up now.
Is your sister trying to follow in your footsteps? Is she big into the media, or is she not?
No, she wants to go into athletic training. So she's more into the science and things like that. I love that her brain works like that, because mine does not and did not. So I'm very excited for that. And it's funny because I'll go on Friday nights, I would shoot football for our sports show. And I'll go to, like, every once in a while, I got assigned Franklin County, which was my old high school. And all her friends are like, oh my gosh, your sister's here. And she's like, yeah. She's like, yeah, and like, it's just so, I guess she's just so used to it. It's whatever to her at this point. But her friends, I guess, think it's cool or
you're a big star.
Interesting that I'm there, on the sidelines, and that we're sisters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, she doesn't care to be like on camera or anything like that. But she still wants to be in the sports world. So athletic training. And I feel like that's a good thing for her. She's a very caring and nurturing person. So I feel like it's going to be a great thing for her.
Yeah, she done found where she kind of fits in already. That's good. That's good. So what big project you got that you're about to unveil or that's in the works that beat me in tonight that you fixed the
big project on the way? Well, not necessarily for BB tonight, but I did just do this story that is about a local cosmetologist who has this initiative that she's doing for college athletes and college students as well. It's called In Living Curls Hair Care. And she has these things for students, regimens and products and whatnot for students, so that way they can take care of their hair, because, specifically catering to curly textured hair, because we all know it's a little bit more to do our hair, take care of our hair. So she's meeting the students where they're at on campus, helping them out. And then she also has these beauty vending machines at Transylvania and Berea College, because, they're in the more rural parts of Kentucky. So they can't always get to places that'll have the stuff they need. So just did a story with her and Ariana Patterson. She's one of the UK gymnasts. She actually has been going to Melanie. Her name's Melanie Day. Has been going to Melanie ever since she was a freshman here at UK. So that was really cool, being able to connect like such a personal story also to UK athletics. And so super excited about that. And that'll be airing in BBN tonight too. So if you guys did not see it on our newscast, you'll see it on BBN tonight. So very excited about that. And then obviously basketball season. So hoping for some more basketball features as we continue this season.
That's good stuff right there, Vinny. You don't know because you got boys, but with the girls and hair, man,
it's big.
Woo, buddy. Woo, buddy. Yeah, it's different. I had to learn a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm sure, because it's
different. So I'm like,
you
Mom,
just can't wake up and go. So
and my mom would do the raps and all this stuff with oh man, Vinny, it's a process, brother. Process. And I had to learn it because I'm starting at zero here, trying to learn that kind of stuff. But that's good stuff because hair is very, very important I would
Mhm.
say, especially in the Black community. So that's great
Right.
for the natural products and getting it to where people are. That's fantastic. Wish we could have had that back when the girls was younger. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's
No,
awesome.
but
That's
that's
awesome
what I
stuff.
was doing this story, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this would have been so cool growing up to know that you were here and you could do this, Well,
Yeah.
even though when I was growing up, it wasn't a thing, because she only started this about, she said it's been a 6 or 7 year process of doing this whole thing. So it's like, it's still relatively new. But yeah, very excited for the athletes that have access to that now.
Yeah.
Melanie Day, is what you said?
Melanie Day.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Yeah, so appreciate you sharing that with us, and we're definitely looking forward to it and everything else you got going on. Looking forward to the Derby Fit. Already know that's
Thank you.
So congratulations on everything. Keep up the good work, and thanks for still taking time to hop on here and chop it up with us from time to time too. Sierra, we appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Anytime you guys reach out, it means a lot. So very excited.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it. I'm gonna keep working on the puns.
Okay. I'll put some more out there of mine, so that way.
Oh, that's it.
Don't have me on this ledge by myself.
Yeah, right. We'll be there together.
Reinforcement. That's all. Okay. He really gonna get.
Then it's like we just talked about not doing this, and I'm like,
he gonna go deep. He gonna go deep in the bag now.
Deep in the bag.
Sierra, thank you so much. Hey, tell Keith we said what's up. We're trying to get him back on here again at some point too.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, man.
Thanks, guys.
See you, Sierra.
Yeah.
Sierra Newton, BBN tonight. So Flossy writes. Doing her thing, man. Got promoted.
So I do have a question for you, Vinny.
Uh-oh.
Thanks, Sierra, for coming on. There's actual NFL football games on this weekend.
It is, man. It is.
Hold on. Hey, Kate, did you know there's NFL football games on this weekend? No, but I'm saying other teams are playing football. You knew that? Huh. Other teams are playing football this weekend.
Unbelievable.
They must not have got the number 1 seed like the 49ers if you're playing this weekend. Yeah, thanks, sweetie. All right, write that on the board upstairs so I don't forget that there is football. The Niners are playing. Thank you, sweetie.
Guess not. Oh,
oh could you hear?
Oh man, let's go.
When people see me doing silly stuff on the internet, you gotta have a woman that participates in silly stuff. Like when I came out of the corn last year, come out of the corn like Field of Dreams, setting up all kinds of my photo shoots. You remember when I did that thing where Drake was posing and with his Kentucky jersey? And she helped me. She's like, no, you got to put the angle like this. Look, you got to have a ride or die. She bought it, man.
Yeah, man.
She got it. Yeah, so she right there with my foolishness.
Unbelievable.
Ain't that something? Speaking of playoffs, happy anniversary. It's 41, 42 of The Catch. Joe Montana, Dwight Clark. Yeah. Old. But
man. And look, I was too young for that, but
I know you've seen it.
Seen it so much. Seen it so much, it almost feel like I was there. It's just one of those stabs to the heart plays for your fandom. Yeah. So 40. So 19. I guess it was 82. 81 season. 82 is when it happened.
I think it's 41, 42. I don't know. I usually alternate years when I tag you in Facebook on that memory, but I'm not going to do that. It's 42.
Man. Yeah, that's just a dagger. They're right there. They had Montana off his back foot. Too Tall Jones pushed him down a second too late.
Mm-hmm.
Everson Walls was right there, but he wasn't. And let 49ers tell it, Dwight Clark had a 74-inch vertical to go up and bring that down in the back of the end zone and get both feet in.
Well, good. Who do the Cowboys playing this weekend?
Packers.
That's right. There's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
McCarthy playing the Packers.
Not the first time we played the Packers. First time we played the Packers was last year in Lambeau. I was there. So we just need to go on and beat them this time and canceled out that loss they took last year in Green Bay.
Niners are going to Lambeau next season. They're also, for some reason, going back to Minnesota. Look, man, I watched Minnesota because Minnesota, if it's not Chicago, it's Minnesota is the game of the week.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of Minnesota Vikings. They have not looked any better than they did that Monday night against San Francisco this season.
Yeah.
Like, they have looked terrible. Any other time I flip it on, I'm like, do they only have 10 people out there? Is that what's going on? Are they aware you can have a forward? Like, Kirk Cousins back there looking like Fran Tarkenton.
I felt your pain, man. I was like, man, he up there just like I was last year, watching him just not.
It was fun except for that, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. But
I got to see before I'm like, I'd like to go to Lambeau. Again, I'm checking the schedule.
It was middle of November we went, and it was still chill. Well, I ain't telling you nothing. You in the Midwest, you know.
I said, whatever the degrees are, man, when the sun goes down, that wind starts blowing, it's different. It's different.
Drove to Chicago and got out the car, and I'm like, oh my God. Whew. And just, hit the World Sears Tower, hit Giordano's for some deep dish, did some touristy stuff, and just walking a couple blocks, and oh God, because I'd never been to Chicago, I don't know, I was 14, 15. This was like early 90s. Friend of ours from our little town in Harlan County, the Whit family was, you got families that your mom and daddy go back years and years with. And so all of them kind of grew up together. And so you just end up knowing all of their family. So anyway, the Whits and the Hardys knew each other since, my parents was kids. But a lot of the Whits moved up to Gary, Indiana. A lot of them moved up to Gary, Chicago.
Gotcha.
So OC was the youngest boy, and he was up there in Gary. He was getting married. OC Whit's getting married. So we leaving Kentucky. We going up for OC's wedding. And this is in March, I think. Springish, somewhere along in there. And so I'm like, oh, cool. Never been up there before. I know it's right beside Chicago. So I'm like, hey, cool. We'll probably get to go to Chicago. That'd be a big city because, coming from a small town where I'm at, get to go see the big city.
And Chicago is a city, to be fair. Like,
yeah,
we say small town, big city. I'm aware Louisville is a big town. I am well aware of what a city is, to be clear. But not to interrupt you, yes. Chicago is a city because there's a city about the size of Louisville before you get to downtown. When you take the L from the airport, there's like, oh, this looks like downtown Louisville. Like, oh no, this is just a suburb. We're not to the city. Then you get to the city, it's like, oh, okay, this is what a city's supposed. Okay, all right. Sorry to interrupt you.
So I'm thinking, like, I'm 14, 15. I don't have a driver's license. Even if I did, they're not about to let me drive up there in Chicago, being a new driver or whatever. But I'm like, yeah, maybe we get to go sightsee in Chicago. Got up there to Gary for the wedding. It was so cold. Mom and Dad's like, we ain't going to Chicago. We going to this wedding, and we just going to hang out at the house with everybody. And, it's too cold to be sightseeing. So the Midwest cold. We was by Chicago, but it was so cold we wasn't even going over there to even see what was over there because it was too cold everywhere. So we just.
So we'll see. Oh, I know I told you about the dude I met that's a 49ers fan.
Yeah,
from Maine that's got season tickets.
Yeah, worldwide. I'm gonna call it worldwide Walsh because he like.
So he did send a message like, "Hey, the last home game. I'm coming off these tickets
for the game against the Rams." $2,000 a piece.
Oh, there was $850.
Ooh,
But I look, and he's right by, it's section 120 something, but the players walk in and off the field, the 49ers entrance. He's right there. And I'm like, okay. But anyway, I was not going to try to pay for them tickets, get to California.
Yeah.
Like, woo, but yeah, I ain't got it like that.
Yeah, that's.
But there's going to be some good playoff games. I'm glad to see the Texans made it so they can play in their annual 4:00 Saturday. Because remember, like out of 3 out of 4 years, it was the Texans versus the Bengals. Like, I just remember Andy Dalton and Matt Schaub because it's like, I don't even know. The playoffs have started. Okay, cool.
And so instead of giving them, Cincinnati, they just give them Cleveland. Well, the Bengals ain't in it. Just send Cleveland down there. So, but at the same time slot, you're exactly right. Saturday at 4:30.
It just seems like that's always where the Texans and Bengals would play. It didn't matter if they won a division. They just seemed to play like it was like Utah and Kentucky in the 90s. Like, oh, they in it. We're just going to put them over here. But that's not the way the bracket is. Ain't nobody going to pay attention.
Yeah, so they kick it off like you said, man. Saturday 4:30. And I didn't even count it. I put on Twitter the other day which reunion game is the most intriguing because you got Tyreek Hill playing Kansas City, Mike McCarthy with the Packers, Stafford playing Detroit, Goff playing the Rams. Deshaun Watson is going back to Houston. He's not going to play, but that's a reunion for him as well. But
man, the nasty man, like he just stopped playing football. Like I know he's hurt, but the awkward conversations that the Broncos are having with Russell Wilson, Cleveland going to have. When you let Joe Flacco come in and ball out, I know he's not playing this weekend, I don't think, because he's hurt, and you have not looked great for that guaranteed money. Woo, buddy.
It's guaranteed to be good hockey insight every time he comes on. Our good friend of the show is backstage. As you mentioned, played hockey for Tennessee. He has got his shop set up in Oak Ridge. For those that aren't close, he can ship all of the good sports gear to you, Fan Gear Barn. I've had the privilege to be able to go up in there in person and check it out. We're talking about our guy, Craig Bates. We can go ahead.
I need him to stop sending me links, man. I got a budget, man.
That's
and it's always, he's like, here's this 49ers thing you might like, TB. I know you like Kentucky. Man, come on now. I'm trying to stay married, Craig Bates.
All it is just a caring shopkeeper sharing with his friends. That's exactly what it is. And so if you see my ghostly face, I'm driving as I shared with Vin. My mom just got my mom home. She was just like Mama B. She's Mama Cam, and she just got out of the hospital, so got her home. And now I'm driving home for the first time in a few days. And what I had to laugh about in listening to that was, of course, at Fan Gear Barn, I have a Matt Schaub Texans jersey and an Andy Dalton Bengal one. So, there's a young guy that comes into the store all the time. His two favorite things are random angry looking college mascots and journeyman quarterbacks. So, from Jay Fiedler with the Dolphins to Jeff George with either the Washington, whatever they were, or the Raiders, or, and Matt Schaub. Hey, why not? Because it's that land that time forgot. It's like when people forget that Emmitt Smith played with the Cardinals, or Tony Dorsett finished up with, I think, the Broncos, and then you got Franco Harris with the Seahawks. These things just they seem like crimes against nature, but they happen. So that's basically, I guess, my niche is the land of misfit jerseys or misfit toys. I'm not sure which one it is. So,
well, I love a good random jersey where people are like, who is that?
Jerry Rice played for everybody after he left.
Oh yeah. It was like, At one time I had a Jerry Rice Seahawks and a Raiders one, and I still have in the random category a Jerry Rice Mississippi Valley State University jersey.
Ooh.
So again,
Bengals, yeah.
no, yeah, I mean that's one of those random ones, along with Delta State Fighting Okra jersey, because when I think of okra, I think that something's going to snap at me. So it's my land of, oh, they made that kind of, yeah, they did. They actually made a jersey for that person.
Didn't Jay play?
Why not?
Didn't Jay play for Denver for a minute too?
Yeah.
Okay, see,
I don't. Yeah. There was a few. It was like Reggie White playing with the Panthers. I'd forgotten all about that one. Yeah. So I mean, it's just there's the Johnny Unitas with the Chargers. Because when I think those beautiful powder blue jerseys, I also think black high top. Spot built shoes. So hey, why not? So, but yeah, that's what if you're gonna stay on and hang on with all your fingernails, you may as well do it in the NFL. So,
well, we're glad that Mama Cam got to
Absolutely.
go home. First and foremost, tell her that we said, hey, next time you talk to her when you get home and call her or something. I'm glad
I will.
Too. How's the hockey season been going? How much have you gotten to watch?
I've got a lot of it. I'm keeping up. It's funny, as you both know, huge New York Rangers fan, and I've been watching the Rangers. They've been the top team in the league, and every time they blow a game, which they've done a few times in the last couple of weeks, I'm like, yep, that's it. That's the Rangers. No faith. There's no Rangers. If they actually win the Stanley Cup again, because it's now it's coming up on 30 years now, which is just scary, because friend of the show Mark Nagy and I have talked about the fact that I watched Game 7 of the Rangers win the Stanley Cup in '94, literally in a bathroom around the corner, because if I actually watched the game with both eyes, they would lose. Nagy had every good luck charm he had in like a weird circle, and he was sitting in the middle of it, didn't move. Because that's just that's fandom. But literally, the only time I peeked my head out around the corner was when Trevor Linden made it 3-2 against the Rangers for the Canucks, and the rest of the time I look like a meme before a meme, because it was just my one eye peeking around the corner, because if I watched it with both eyes, they'd lose. So I'm like, I'm glad that they won, but it was more stress inducing than humanly possible. So the Rangers are doing great. Had a really cool looking Winter Classic out there in Seattle between the Golden Knights and the Kraken, and they did a great job with that. You've got Connor Bedard, who there was a lot of rumors and innuendos at the start of the year, about something to do with his mom, and it was not true. And then he gets checked hard last week and breaks his jaw, and he's out for a few weeks. Ovechkin's inching up closer to breaking Gretzky's record. So, I mean, there's a lot of storylines, but again, it also goes back to, some of the teams the traditional teams aren't playing as great. The Rangers are doing just good enough to make me have flashes of maybe, and then they screw it up, and, all is right with the world. So, I mean, to me, there's not really many teams that are just busting it open. Vegas is playing well. The Blackhawks are coming back, and every conspiracy theory person thinks that's why the Blackhawks got them, because you can't have the Blackhawks not be good. You got this kid from the Flyers that basically got traded to the Ducks yesterday, and there was a lot of talk that he had said that he was never going to report to the Flyers. So, we all know when he makes it to the NHL and has to play in Philly, he'll have more bodyguards than should be able to have. Mm-hmm. So again, there's just, it's funny because I've gotten to keep up, see things going on. Canadian teams that, there's a lot of transition. The Maple Leafs might actually get to the point where they might win, 2 series this year. We'll see. But I mean, you talk angst ridden, the Leafs fan base is worse than anybody else because 1967 and everything else. It's not gonna, until they actually win a cup, no one's gonna expect them to do anything. It's what, my wish prediction for the NFL playoffs this year was I would love to see a Cleveland Detroit Super Bowl just because Roger Goodell's head would probably explode, but people in Detroit and people in Cleveland, I mean, there would be, to quote the old Ghostbusters line, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Because imagine one of those teams winning a Super Bowl, and nothing against the Cowboys and nothing against the Niners, but I mean, I think just for the sheer sitting back and having the tub of popcorn and watching it all happen, I mean, you couldn't beat Cleveland playing Detroit in the Super Bowl, and I would love to see the PR machine that is the NFL trying to swing that one.
Yeah. I got to go back to the Connor Bedard thing, and top pick, superstar, out 6 to 8 weeks because of the hit he just took. Was it dirty? Was it cheap? Is there unwritten rules when you got guys that are the next great players? Just talk about everything that went down with that.
He went. It was, it wasn't. You remember? He's about 5'10", 5'11". He weighs $165. So
It's glitching a little bit.
There's not an unwritten rule that you don't hit the superstars, but there is an unwritten rule that you're gonna be dropping the gloves with somebody. Foligno came in, he's a strong player, but he got hurt defending Bedard. So I mean, you get guys that are out there now that are, it's more of a skill league. You think back to the guys that Gretzky had, Dave Semenko, you had Marty McSorley. When you got Semenko, who was basically listed as cement head, because he, if you breathed on Gretzky wrong, he would come and take you out and didn't care if it was legal or not legal. And the NHL has kind of gotten away from that. So is it an unwritten rule? Kind of, but if you got this kid, like I said, the hit was a clean hit. It was a hard hit. It's not, I don't have anything against Bedard. And as a Rangers fan, there's nothing the Devils could ever do that I would ever agree with. But in that situation, it was a good hit. It was a clean hit, but it's the difference between being 18 and, being able to do these dazzling moves. You get caught up to, things are going to happen. That's the running joke. Our daughter Josie, that's playing college hockey up in Alvernia, she and her 17-year-old son Luke, Jane and I's kids, they got to play hockey with me in between the break before Josie got to go back with all the graybeard guys. And, and they said, I told them, Josie was on my team because, she's had concussions. I didn't want it. I would hit her if I had to, but would keep the elbows down. With Luke, all bets were off, and they both said, well, you got to catch us. I'm like, you got to stop sometime. So that's that's the way that the old guys play hockey. So, that's the same thing with Bedard. Yeah, you're not going to be out there, the old time hockey where you didn't even come anywhere near Gretz or, even Mario Lemieux or some of these other guys, back in the day, they could, a lot of these guys could handle themselves. Gretz was, a little bit bigger than Bedard, but not much, weighed about the same. But, I think that, there was a hearing, there was everything going on with it. And, it was a legal hit, but is it, you don't go after the kid basically. And, that's what happened. And, there was a fight out of it. And I think if anything, Bedard will, I hope it won't stop his game, because he does things that are, to give him complete credit, he does things that somebody his age playing the NHL, he's got 10, 13, 15 goals already at 18. But yeah, if you're going to try and play, get your nose dirty in the old parlance of old time hockey, if you're going to get a greasy goal, you're going to get in there and do stuff. Sometimes you got to pay the price. And I think for him, it will be, I don't think it'll stop his game, but I think what it'll do is, there's a lot of space out there until he bulks up a little bit more. He might want to use that space because he already did, a Michigan goal where, did the dipsy doodle behind the net, did a Michigan goal. So, I mean, I think, again, it's learning to pick your spots. But, I mean, in that particular situation, it was a good, clean hit. Just caught one right in the chin. And, that's kind of what happens when you're skating as fast as you are. But, yeah, you look like a guy like Connor McDavid. Same thing. You're going to have guys that are – McDavid could probably just skate past everybody, but you're still going to have those guys that, I think if it was a bad hit, if it was a low hit, if it was a dirty hit, would be looked at a little bit differently than just kind of being a hockey play.
Well, I got a question for you. Not a question, but I saw this, and I can't remember where I saw this. It was Wayne Gretzky was giving this interview on a podcast, and he was talking about when he was with the Kings, Game 7 against Toronto.
Yep.
And it was the funniest thing, Vinny. So this is what I think the game's in Toronto.
Yep.
Gretzky's a little bit older, not quite the great one. There's people, talking about him. And so he likes to go to the rink early. And so he's got security guard, because Toronto thinks they're going to win, Craig, right? Toronto thinks
got
it.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And so the security that's kind of walking him in, the security guard was like, basically he's not looking forward to the end of the night because Toronto is going to go crazy and win the game. And he's like, my night's going to start at 10:30. And Gretzky looks at this guy and says, well, good thing my job starts at 7:30. You'll be fine. Like, you'll be home with your family. And then he goes out and scores 5 points or whatever. I just thought that was one of the coolest things, because I'm not in the hockey verse, but I was like, that's a very Michael Jordan kind of thing. Yeah, don't worry, security guy. You'll be fine.
Yeah,
don't worry about.
Well, and if you ever, oh yeah, I'm good. And that's what's so funny is in that series, I think it was either game 6 or game 7. When you talk about the cachet of certain players, so back at that time, if you drew blood on a high stick, that was automatically a double. It was basically a double minor, 2-minute penalties. And in that, Doug Gilmour, who was one of the best players, Gretz went to lift up his stick, and Kerry Fraser, who was the referee, said later on that he missed it, and it drew blood, and they didn't give him the 4 minutes. Gretz came out and scored the game-winning goal. So, if you want to ever start a fight anywhere in Ontario or anywhere close to Toronto, you say something along the lines of, Kerry Fraser was a heck of a ref. Oh, it's on, because that was in 93. People this day still don't let him get away with the fact that, he came back later and said, hey, I missed the call. I missed it. I didn't see it. Everyone thought, oh, it was Gretzky, because that was his first year there with the Kings. They had just, then they wound up going to the Stanley Cup Finals. They got beat by Montreal. So you can imagine, not only would it have been a Montreal versus
Montreal, Toronto.
Yeah, but I saw that clip and I was like, oh, because again, I didn't know Gretzky was kind of like that, but that was a pretty cool.
The fix is in there. Craig. They want LA to be in there. What does LA know about hockey? Blah blah blah. But it drew so many people into it that, I mean, I don't think it was on purpose, but there's enough of people with the with the maps tying Kerry Fraser with the string to everything else for why Toronto didn't make it to the Cup that year. So I mean, again, it's just one of those things. But yeah, you see some of these guys now that have a little bit of a personality. Gretz. Some of these guys that were that was always the thing, was that people that played in the NHL were just dull as toast. But you're starting to get guys with some personality, and it's kind of like the bat flips in baseball. You see guys doing things that they can do, and they're skating ridiculously fast, and you got razor blades on your feet. So, hey, why not let personalities come out a little bit? And they're starting to embrace that a little bit more. But there is that very old school, hockey lunch pail mentality that, it's starting to change. But, Yeah, guys like Gretz, some of these old school guys, you wouldn't. I don't know if I ever told you the story. It's one of my favorite stories of about Gordie Howe. So I had a buddy of mine when Gordie Howe used to do kids hockey camps, and Gordie Howe was out there. So he came out there with his stick upside down, and he had a puck on the ice with the stick with the butt end of the stick holding the puck down. And he told the kids he had 2 lessons for them. Lesson one is stick handling is the most important thing you could do. So there's about 20, 25 kids there. And he said, if anybody gets this puck for me, this is mid-70s, anybody takes this puck for me, I'm giving you $20 right now. So he had this, he had his stick on the ice, the butt end, not the blade end, had the stick on the ice, proceeded to stick handle for 10 minutes around 25 kids. None of them could ever get the puck away from him. And he said, that's lesson number 1. Stick handling is the most important. Lesson number 2, do whatever it takes to win. And he lifted his stick up. He had nailed the puck to the butt end of his stick. So that's what, he always said, that's the most important thing is, second most important is do whatever you can to win. So it's just, it's one of those great stories about, old school players and everything else. So
the opposite of doing everything you can to win is San Jose, because they are 9-29 and they're terrible. But I saw, I'm catching the SportsCenter highlights, and it's a few days ago they lost to somebody.
Boys, you're cutting out of me for 1 second. Give me 1 second because I can't hear. I'm almost home, and Mama Cam's already been calling me to see where she's at. So give me 1 second, gents.
Yeah, sure will. Because I knew I wanted to have Craig on and ask him this. In addition to the Bedard stuff,
and if anybody's watching this, I'm not driving and doing this. I promise.
Oh no, we don't see anything on your camera, Craig. At all. You're good. But I just saw this stat.
I think every time I have to make that Beano Cook reference. So this is like the Beano Cook reference for me.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I knew that. I'll save it for when Craig gets in there. And Tennessee is getting busted by Mississippi State right now too. So 35-22 looks like at halftime.
So I'm back, I think.
Yeah, I was just asking about
Can y'all hear
San
me?
Jose. Yeah. Can you hear us? Can you? Oh, maybe we're.
Yep.
Can you hear us? Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you about San Jose. They are terrible, and I saw on SportsCenter a few days ago, rather, they lost to somebody, and I'm pretty sure it said that they had 11 shots on goal for the game. How terrible do you have to be to only get 11 shots? I don't know the ins and outs of getting the shot and how the offense should work, but I figured 60 minutes. And they only got 11 shots. I mean, that is pretty awful. So I had to ask you about that.
You might not know hockey, but you know terrible, and that's exactly what that is. That's terrible. I mean, you might get 10, 11, 12 shots a period, not in a game. And, and back in the old days of the neutral zone trap stuff where, it was like playing the old four corners, Dean Smith and basketball, you might have 20, 22 shots a game, but yeah, having 11 in a game, and you're right. The Sharks are really like historically bad. They've got some decent players, but and it's hard to figure. Usually you can say, oh, they got an albatross of a contract, or they've got some decent talent. They're just bad. I mean, there's nothing else you can really say about it. They're just, like I always like to do the old John McKay when he coached the Buccaneers when they were terrible in the 70s. He would say we can't win at home, we can't win on the road. My failure as a coach is finding somewhere else to play. So I mean, that's kind of the Sharks right now. They're just If this was European soccer, they would be relegated probably halfway through the season.
So, I mean, in basketball, you can have a ball hog that may be a gunner and take all the shots, and maybe they don't really have any other offense except that. Can't one dude for the Sharks just say, I'm coming down and just I'm shooting this puck regardless.
Well, and that's probably how they got their 11 shots because, to me, it's just, they, like I said, Thomas Hurdle is one of the guys that's a pretty good player. But, if you're trying to get it out of your zone and you can never get out of your zone or you're not passing well or everyone's just there, theoretically you could shoot it. The goalie could shoot it. And if it goes on the other goal, hey, that's a shot on goal. So that may be my new trick for the Sharks to try and get some shots because they've got to do something. They're just historically bad. I've watched one or two of their games and it's beyond disinterested. It's just, playing out the string 20 games into the season is not a good thing there. And it may be something, San Jose and Oakland are very close to one another. So I don't know if it's an A's Sharks thing, but, somebody might want to look into it. I don't, they can't move to Vegas like the A's and the Raiders. So I don't know where else they can go.
That's right. That's right. But yeah, I just had to.
No,
had to ask.
Your hockey knowledge is spot on with that one, my friend.
And whenever I do see scores, see a lot of teams scoring 7 or 8 goals. You see these 8-1 games. Is that normal? Is that happening a little more than normal this year as far as blowouts and teams scoring more? Because you still see 5-3 or 4
right, and a lot of the times in the last 3 or 4 games, I remember a 6 or 7 or 8-1 game. It was scoring against the Sharks, so that makes a lot of sense too. But I think right now there's been injuries. There's teams that are playing to back it, like the Rangers the other night. They had a really good game, beat the Caps, then lost to the Canucks. Laid the proverbial egg, and so sometimes you just get where you get teams that are not feeling it, in light of a better term, and it's what was I think I saw earlier this year, like the Pistons lost 27 in a row or something like that. It's like that. You start playing terrible and it snowballs,
Yep, that's understandable.
Hopefully I didn't lose you again.
No. Appreciate all the insight, man.
Yep.
Appreciate all the insight.
All right.
But man, I'm glad that you are almost home and appreciate you enlightening us as you drove home. Glad that Mom is already home. And tell the lovely wife and the rest of the family that, our best wishes once you get to your house.
Absolutely.
Yep, I'm almost there, and so that's what I got to call Mama Cam here before I get to the house so that I can make sure that she knows that I'm okay, and then she's going to yell at me. So all is right with the world. So
there you go.
Well, yeah, man. Give her our best, Craig, and we can't thank you enough for hopping on.
All right, boys. Y'all be safe. God bless you both. God bless your families, and we'll talk soon.
All right,
thank you,
man.
Craig. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Take care, boys. See ya.
So our guy Craig Bates getting us the hockey knowledge every year, usually 2 or 3 times a year throughout the season.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. And I had to ask him about the Sharks. Just little stuff I just saw, watching Sports Center. And I'll tune in and watch a game or two once the playoffs come around. But, see the highlights. And San Jose, man, that's 11 shots. That's got to be – I got to ask Craig about that when we have him on. And then the same thing with the young fella Bedard, getting his jaw broke right in his rookie season. So, yeah. But yeah, Nick Saban dominates the day.
Yeah.
Tennessee is taking it on the chin at Mississippi State, which, hey, it's the road in the SEC. You better be ready to play. And if you don't, these other teams they'll jump up and knock you down, man.
And congrats to the Michigan Wolverines.
The Michigan Astros. Oh, yeah, the Michigan Wolverines. You're right.
For the first time since we got 50 states, your Michigan Wolverines are the standalone national champions.
1948, boy.
Yes,
That's right.
for the first time since we've had 50 states.
That's when Kentucky won their first championship. Larry Doby was joining Jackie Robinson and breaking the color barrier.
For the first time since baseball integrated.
Oh man.
Yeah. And so this is what kills me real quick about that too, because this is Michigan's like 10th championship. I'm like, oh, y'all for real counting those from the 20s and 30s? Okay, so I don't feel bad when people are like, Kentucky count them? Yes. If Michigan gets to talk about that, and this is their first full one in 60 years, 70 years.
75. 76. This is 2024.
My parents were in grade school. What are we doing here, man? Like, what are we doing? Come on now. But good for them. Good for them. Look, man. Sometimes cheaters win.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I've tried to tell my kids, that sometimes cheaters win. Karma don't always catch up. I hate it that they get Michigan versus everybody.
Yeah.
When that dude got caught cheating. And you can't point to how you played against Alabama, how you played against Ohio State, and all this kind of stuff when you did cheat.
That's right.
Because that's what always happened. Well, what advantage did we get by cheating? Well, you're not having to play by the rules.
Probably saved Harbaugh's job because you started beating Ohio State and all kind of stuff.
And it looked funny in the light, right? There was just a drastic difference to the cheating. Like when Kentucky gets caught cheating with the Emory package, there's a benefit to back then paying players. There's a benefit to that. That's why you do it.
Yeah.
But what happens when somebody gets caught cheating? One, they fight the cheating. Despite all the evidence that mounts up, they live with the lie. They live with the cheat, right? I didn't cheat. Then it's like, well, we got all this evidence. Well, it wasn't that big a deal. When you look at the numbers and we didn't have, then why did you cheat? Then why did you cheat? That's my only thing. Why'd you cheat?
Nope.
If it wasn't that big a deal, why'd you do it? If breaking the rules didn't mean anything, why you do it? And then it's everybody's against it because you cheated. I mean, that the Astros had to go on that world tour. Everybody's against us. Yeah, because you cheated.
Nope.
Then other teams cheat. Look, man, you got 2 kids, I got 2 kids. This works when you got 2 or more kids. You get on one, and then they always pull in their bag. Daddy, I know you got me, but my sibling did. We're not worried about that. That never works, man. You can't get pulled over out here. We talk about them other cars. No. You know I'm not the only person that speeds. Be that as it may, or as it may not, you got caught.
Yeah, exactly.
And that, anyway, whatever. I'm glad Michigan won, and they get to everybody. And this is the thing too. Sports are fickle. Like we giving Nick Saban his flowers now. A lot of people had jokes when he lost against Michigan. That's the downside. I don't like. This is my old man rant as we wrap up. Is we have reduced, to Nick Saban until they retire. But everybody had these jokes. We've reduced Michael Jordan. Like if you're not at the top, we gonna kick you, buddy. We got jokey jokes. We don't recognize it because we got these jokey jokes. Good chance Bill Belichick steps away with his 6 Super Bowls, and everybody got jokey jokes. Like we don't appreciate nothing, man. Like we really don't.
It's true.
On the way out, like what are we doing, man?
Yeah, and the minute the final horn sounds, the confetti doesn't even finish falling. We're on to the way too early rankings for next year. So you're right. As far as appreciating it,
we don't appreciate nothing.
And I ran about that for years. The banner's still swaying in 2012. Let's go get number 9. We don't.
Exactly. And a thing about it, the next Bama coach let him go 2 or 3 seasons. Because there was pressure on Nick Saban this year because it's been 3 years.
The reality is skewed down there.
3 years.
They ain't all objective like our friend Meredith Hornsby, who was trying to tell her kids, like you, it's not always like this. You've been born into this, dear, but it's not gonna stay like this. It wasn't like this, just a few years ago.
Trying to tell my kids, man, when they was little, like, hey, 4 Final Fours in 5 seasons, that's rare even for Kentucky standards.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But Nick Saban. Again, congrats to Michigan Wolverines.
Mm-hmm. Congrats to Tim Couch for making the College Football Hall of Fame too. Because
what is the requirements for that? Because
happened years ago.
Yeah, because there was that Toby Gerhardt that played just a few years ago. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, wait a minute, y'all just now putting Randy Moss in? You're just now putting Tim Couch in?
Mm-hmm.
Almost 30 years later?
Yeah.
Like 25 years. And then you got some people that are, 4 or 5 years. Like, I don't understand that. Like, to me, it's just weird that Randy Moss has been in the NFL Hall of Fame. And now he's going to the college football. Like, I don't know what the criteria is, man.
Mm-hmm.
But I love Randy Moss because he's country as hell.
Yes, he is.
When you hear him interview NFL films, and some interview you talking about going fishing, and people are like, "What?" I'm like, "That's what they do in West Virginia." Like, what are you talking about?
My dad's mom's from West Virginia, man, over there in Beckley. So hey, I know about some West Virginia, man.
Shout out to Tim Couch, and I don't get it. Like, it's a wide variety of people making the College Football Hall of Fame, and I'm like, I do not get how this works at all.
And all this spread stuff and throwing the ball around that we see now, they credit him for, if him and Mummy don't jive, we might not see the football we see now. But because that started, him and Leach and everybody at Kentucky.
But you know where Mummy got his start? Here in Iowa.
Was what you say he was?
Mummy, I mean, because he got his start. Hold on. It was Iowa Wesleyan.
There it is.
Was his first head coaching job. Iowa Wesleyan, where Adam, friend of the show, played for a season. Iowa Wesleyan. Then he went to Valdosta State. Then he went to Kentucky. I want to say Mike Leach was on his staff then too at Iowa Wesleyan.
Wow. Where in Iowa is that?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
Somewhere. Somewhere. Hold on one second. I'm looking up Mike because I want to say, Mike Leach was the OC at Iowa Wesleyan. It was 88, 89 through 91. I'm sorry, 89 through 91. So just to let you know, I want a map, baby.
That's right. And speaking of Iowa on the map, our friend of the show again, Camille Gear, is about to leave Iowa. Not sure where she's going, but was talking about the tweet. Thanks for 2 years at Quad City, Davenport area, and looking for what's next. But she is about to leave. We're gonna have her on again though, because she got
to cover a lot too.
Yeah,
she got to cover the Caitlin Clark show and go to the national championship game there. And I don't know how enjoyable it was to cover Iowa football, but they did go to a Big Ten championship game and a couple of bowl games.
Yeah,
I don't know that would be like enjoyable, but it did happen.
I know she's a professional, but I think this last bowl game would have been enjoyable for her because she went to Tennessee. So if she was doing her job while inside, she was probably doing happy dances.
no rooting from the press box. But,
yeah. She was internally joyful, I'm sure. And she was in Florida. So she had the chance to throw out and watch her balls.
Yeah.
So Congratulations to wherever she goes next. Once she gets relocated, we get her on and chop it up again.
And next week we're gonna talk about the Cat Williams.
Yeah, and
Woo, buddy.
And the show you was on, you know, they had their the forecast where you've been on there. They got an episode about that too. So I like how he's calling people boy. Hey, boy, you want to?
Cat Williams. Hey, and we're gonna see Cat Williams.
That's right.
Here, March or April, something like that. I think
He ain't gonna do no.
Okay. Oh, she don't hear me. This house too big. Anyway,
I like that. Look at that flex. This house is too cavernous. She can't hear me. It's this massive home we have here. So, but hey, he will not be doing any visiting the radio stations in Des Moines. I guess, you know, let him tell it. He won't be doing that. You know, I'll come and talk to Shannon, but I'm not gonna come and go to the radio station and do this and do that. And so
maybe we can have him on the podcast. Cat Williams, the floor is yours, sir. Who did you not take out? We would, you know. You got anything else you want to say?
We don't have some comedians on here now. We sure have.
Yeah.
So we can see.
Another good show. Thanks to our guests for coming on and everything. Like I said, the biggest news is Nick Saban is gone.
Mm-hmm. So happy retirement, Nick Saban. And knew it was going to come, but still surprised when you actually hear it. So enjoy your retirement. Like you said, enjoy the grandkids. You got that big old boat on the lake and whatever else you want to do, man. Speaking of West Virginia, he from West Virginia. Born and raised. That's where. Yeah, he a West Virginia guy. And the mountains I'm from is big, but their mountains even more mountainy than the mountains I'm from. Them mountains over there is. I mean, I ain't been to the out west mountains, but the West Virginia mountains ain't no joke.
Different out there.
You even driving the interstate up there, and it's still. It ain't
like the mileage ain't that bad, but you can't be going more than 40 miles an hour. That thing, man.
Yeah, it's a mountain interstate for a reason, for sure. Another good show, TV, man. Sorry about the snow you got to deal with right now, and sorry that maybe get that stepson to shovel a little something. Maybe I don't know.
Oh yeah, he did the bulk of it. We got a snow blower.
Right. There you go.
I just do a little bit of it, but
stay as warm as you can, and hopefully it'll start melting soon. I wish it was already, I guess, May for y'all. They don't start warming up till May up there. Wish it was May for y'all already. And we'll do this next week. Talk about whatever else, Cats at A&M and NFL playoffs, and talk about how rusty the Niners will be since they had a week off. And we'll see who y'all get to play. Since y'all ain't playing this weekend, you'll get to see who's coming to Levi Stadium. So
that's right, baby.
All that next week. See if we got some guests on as well. It's on Roku. It's on Spotify, iHeart, wherever you get your podcasts. BS3 Network just puts it out there everywhere. We appreciate it. And we'll do this again next Wednesday, man. So y'all be safe, stay warm, and appreciate y'all checking us out. We out of here.